And welcome. Today is Tuesday, so if it's Tuesday, that means it's time to talk boxing. Welcome to Foreman Boxing Magazine on Provide and on Facebook. I'm here with Julio Sanchez, the fireman. As we call them these days, we call them the heroes. Today, we're going to do something. Actually, I did this maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and because a lot of you guys didn't get a chance to say who everybody did this. We didn't get a chance to respond to everybody, but we're going to give you our top 10 greatest fighters, of all times. Well, what we consider all times, but maybe not with you, but you give us what you think.
We're doing fighters or heavyweights?
No, we're gonna do fighters. We'll do fighters. We'll do fighters. Well, but of course, we always start with the big guys. Everybody likes the big guys.
Gotcha.
We're having some problems with our Facebook feed for some reason. The live stream has stopped, but we're here on Provide. So we'll continue our talk. But before we do, I want to give you a bit of information about Atlantic City here. They are having the AC Jazz Fest this weekend at the Hard Rock. We've been talking about it for the last, month or so, and it's going to be at the Hard Rock. It's the AC Jazz Fest in Atlantic City Jazz Fest, featuring Boney James, Najee, who I haven't heard in a long time, Najee, Norman Brown, Lindsey Webster, Pieces of a Dream, and Joe Baton.
Do it again.
So I want to make sure I give you that bit of information. We'll be talking about the Jazz Fest as we go through, but September 14th, this coming Saturday, is the Atlantic City Jazz Fest. And also, I was asked to mention the Vow, which is a group of women, young ladies, business professional women here. They are having a shop until you drop. Now, I know in women, that's all day long, but it's called the Shop Until You Drop. And it's their second or third annual, I think it is. But it's Saturday, October 26th, 2019, starting at 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. And you're going to the Woodbury Commons Premium Outlet. That's that $100 outlet up in New York, up that way. I know my wife won't be going because we don't have any money. So I'm only kidding. Yeah. But it's going to be at the Red Apple Court, Central Valley, New York. Should be a lot of fun. Tickets are $55 round trip. Drop off and pick up at Boscow's Mall. So we'll be giving you more information about that. But this coming weekend is the Atlantic City Jazz Fest at the Hard Rock Cafe. Should be a real exciting evening. Summer has kind of ended now, and but the weather's still great, and I think you're still going to have people coming down. So it should be kind of nice. It's not like it's a slow week in boxing, because it never really is. But we're going to give you a chance on Facebook tonight. We're going to talk about our top 10. Well, it's probably going to wind up being about 20 fighters altogether, because we're going to include the heavyweights, the welterweights, and others. But we're going to talk about just who do you consider the greatest fighters of all time. Now, I know that a majority of you are going to jump out the bat and you're going to say, well, Ali was the greatest fighter of all time, but you're going to say Sugar Ray Robinson was the greatest of all time. But sometimes we can tell you things that just might make you change your mind a little bit if you kind of throw out the personal feelings about a person. Because to me, one of the greatest persons I've ever met, probably outside of the boxing ring, was Muhammad from a personal standpoint. And when you're looking at sports, other than guys, I've met tons of sports athletes, over the years, but I think he's definitely one of the most personable guys. Ray Leonard. But by the time I got a chance to meet a lot of these gentlemen, the other guys we're going to mention, I was a kid and they were older, and a lot of them had gotten cranky. Joe Louis was a great guy, but Joe was mad at the world. Trust me, he was. And so was Ray. But then I put that in perspective, the years that they kind of came up in the sport, things were just wasn't the same with them in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s as it was.
They weren't treated as champions.
They weren't treated as, they weren't always treated. And it was such a divided nation. And in particular, in boxing, may have been when they stepped into the ring, that was their comfort zone. Mm-hmm. So that's one of those kind of things. So we're going to give you a chance to, and we'll be taking your comments or your questions on our Facebook side. On Provide, we'll give you the information, and you, like I said before, you can send us emails at www.provide provide.com at ptn.com. www.providepetn.com. I'm sorry, let me get that right. And we'd also like for you to subscribe to the network. If you're catching us on Facebook, that's one thing. But sometimes if you just can't be near that, hey, you can catch us on the Provide Network. You can tune in, subscribe, push the button, and you can catch us. And if you miss us, you can catch us up that way too, just like you can on Facebook. So look at that also about being a subscriber to Provide. Now, let's get into this part here. Now, who's the greatest fighter? We didn't say fighters. We don't want necessarily asking for one person, but we're going to give you a chance. Give us on Facebook, give us maybe your top three. We're going to give you ours, and some of the names that he might have is going to surprise you, not me, because I know what I'm talking about. But some of the guys on here though, but it's going to be kind of surprising. So I tell you what we'll do. I have a short list, and I guess I'm going to start at the bottom first, because what I said, when you say top 10, especially in the heavyweight division, there's a 10 and 11 because there's a tie somewhere along the way, I think, with some of them. And a lot of the guys we tend to miss. And people don't always consider, the guys like Larry Holmes as being one of the greatest, which I think he was. He's top 5 fighters as far as I'm concerned. But I was reading something the other day, and it kind of made me even, before we get to that, is that they consider some of the other guys that I may have missed rather, that are pretty good fighters. Because you might not hold the title forever, and you got one that you're going to comment about that as well. Yeah. But you may not hold the title forever, but you win it. It's like a great baseball team. At your peak. So it's like a good baseball team. They say, well, the Yankees was one of the best baseball teams for so many years, or the Lakers was the greatest the greatest dynasty, the Celtics. And from year to year, that's what they was. But a lot of teams win it, and they may never get back there again. They might get a chance to play for it again.
Peak for so long.
So that's the thing. So I'm going to start with my number is probably 11, 10. I'm going to say is Vitaly Klitschko. Because this guy held the title, man, for a long time.
That was Vladimir.
Yeah, was it Vladimir?
I had him as my number 10.
Okay, well, see, there we go, Vladimir. See, that's why I have him, because he can remember things. I can't. But Vladimir Klitschko, one of the better, really, the guy, he won, he held the title for, 9-10 years, I think, along the way, and pretty much took on everybody.
Probably the longest time the title was out of the United States.
Yeah. And a lot of guys went over there to try to get it, but they didn't come back with it, So I think he's one of my. That's one of mine. So
very underrated. I think so. Also, I think he's probably the most athletic European fighter, big man, especially that I've ever seen. And he was tough to beat. One of the few guys that knocked down Ray Mercer, who we know had a granite chin. And, just for a solid 10 years, nobody came close to him or his brother. They kind of ruled the division for a long time.
They held it for a very long time.
Absolutely.
So, and now we're going to go into just talk about fighters. We're going to get back to the heavyweights too. But now I'm going to switch over to a little bit, because I want to go to the welterweights. And then I say, again, I'm starting from the bottom numbers. And the reason I'm sticking to those, because those seem to be the most popular of all the weights when you talk about people. Everybody talks about Ray Robinson and Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns. Marvin Hagler, I think, ruled the heavyweight division the middleweight division.
I think he's the greatest middleweight ever.
I agree with that.
A lot of people don't.
Because nobody
hear it a lot.
Yeah, right. Literally, other than the fight to Ray in the first fight he lost, who did he lose to? Yeah. Nobody. But in the welterweight, I
thought he beat Ray in a close fight.
Yeah, that's one that'll be going on here. I think don't talk that about Marvin though, because he can't stand that to this day.
Yeah.
But I think that in that division, my bottom 10, 11 is Alexis Arguello. I think he was. I think he was one of the guys that he always came to fight. He took on more guys from his division. He moved. He's another one of the guys that moved up the way too.
Sharpshooter.
Yeah,
carried his power up with him.
Yep. And he took on everybody. That's the thing about it. He took on everybody. The fights with Tommy Hearns were just totally. Yeah. Well, I think just about everybody Tommy Hearns outmatched for his height, his size, and his punching power. The guy was he was unreachable. What he did to
with the exception of Iran Barkley.
Well, with exception, but Barkley was that. Yeah, Barkley was that middleweight, heavyweight though, man. But Iran is another guy that was that's what they call his conundrum. I think is the word I'm looking for. But in the welterweights, I like him, And then I guess if I had to get to my next one, it would be the young kid from Puerto Rico. He's not doing too well now. Oh gosh,
Not Cotto.
no, the other one, the fought rate.
Benitez.
Wilfredo
Benitez.
Benitez.
Champion, 17 years old.
17 years old.
Oh.
I mean, he was before the young Barrera. Because I think they said he lied about his age at 16, 17 years old, when he first came into boxing, but he dominated men. I think that by the time, and I always say this, you can have so many fights before you get to a pinnacle that you've had so many big fights. Ray Leonard was just above his class. I mean,
some of the exceptions.
Yeah, some of the exceptions. Ray was just above his class, and he was one of those others. Now, you give me let's start with your number 11 on your list.
Number 11, all heavyweight?
Yeah.
We agree on that one. I think my number 11 is Vladimir Klitschko. And for the same reasons you said, if you want to go to my number 10, since we've already spoke about Vladimir.
Okay.
My number 9. I'm going with Larry Holmes.
Number 9?
Number 9, who you say is in your top 5.
Okay.
I love Larry. Don't get it twisted. You know what I mean? But there's been a lot of heavyweights. And I don't see, when you start talking about the Foremans and the Alis and the Fraziers, we've seen Larry Holmes get up off the canvas a whole lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he stands up to the shots of George Foreman. But I mean, guys dropped him with single shots, but with a guy like Foreman, he was going to take heavy shots all night long. I don't see it. We've seen what happened when he got hit by Tyson, although he was past his prime. I mean, I think some of the quicker, smaller boxers would have been too quick for him. I didn't think he was all that athletic. He had a very good jab, but I don't think he was a huge puncher. His chin was okay, and he wasn't that athletic. So I think he came at a good time where the peaking heavyweights of his time were on their way down when he got his shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ali had faded.
Norton,
Foreman was gone.
Norton,
Frazier and Ali, all those guys kind of destroyed each other.
Yeah.
And I think Holmes got to sneak in the back door. After that, I mean,
we had a good promoter, though. But he had a good promoter.
He had a great promoter. But after that, I mean, who of note did he beat in their prime?
Well, when you start looking at the list, guys like Pedro Augusto, the Pinkerton Thomases, even the Tim Witherspoons and guys, that they never was the top echelon guys, but they were guys who had managed well and got to the titles.
And then the Tim Witherspoon fight was controversial.
Yeah,
I thought he deserved a decision against Holmes.
Yeah,
and also Carter Truth Williams, I thought deserved the decision against Holmes. And so kind of, if you look at that record he had of all those defenses, it's kind of a farce because a couple of them could have went the other way.
But he had the best jab.
Oh, he absolutely did.
I think, outside of Liston, George had a strong jab. Liston had a great jab. Yeah. But outside of that, I think Larry had perhaps one of the best jabs.
And I think a true mark of a great fighter is when guys improve after fighting you. Mm-hmm. If you see, like, the latest example of that is Canelo he stole a lot of stuff and gained a lot of stuff from the Mayweather fight.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Carter Truth developed an amazing jab after fighting Larry Holmes. So, I mean, if you look, that was his calling card the whole rest of his career.
Well, my friend Leon Muhammad is on here, and, he was around a bunch of those guys.
Yeah.
And he's one guy that can tell you about them all because he helped during their careers, including my brothers and others. He used to get the fight of the journeyman that you need to bring these guys into their career. So he can tell you a lot about a lot of those guys. And I'd like to know just who does he consider if he had to pick out one of the great. He's going to say Ali. I already know that. But then Leon is one of those kind of guys who knows enough about boxing that can pick somebody. If there was somebody he thought he'd be fair enough to say that. Mm-hmm. Now, my next one for the heavyweights goes, that's a hard one to pick because I want to put it's 7 or 8. Joe Frazier is always going to be in my top 10, no matter what.
Gotta be.
Larry at number 9. Then you get to, I say I put Holyfield.
I got Holyfield at number 8.
Yeah, that's okay. We're pretty much, and we haven't talked about this guy
at all.
He works all day, not me. But no, so Holyfield. Now, here's a guy that look. The guy started at 168 or something, 65, and prior to the Olympics, and went to 75, 90 heavyweight, won at every level.
And his heavyweight was maybe 205,
214 was his highest that he ever got.
Yeah.
But he was muscle. But the guy had the heart of a lion. Turned down nobody.
The shots he took from them big guys,
namely
your brother.
Yes.
And the shots he took from Bo, as a little guy.
As a little guy.
Amazing.
I thought Bo would beat him the first time. I mean, actually, when we went to the fight with that, I think I did the international for 1 or 2 of those fights. But I do know at that first fight, I just thought Bo because of his size. It just wouldn't, I'm like, okay, George just beat you like that, and he's 30, 40 years old and hit you with those shots and was hurting you. Riddick Bowe is younger, faster. I'm not saying stronger, but more accurate. Athletic. And I just figured Bowe would wipe the court, but there again.
That was a great heavyweight fight.
He proved this differently. And then you move up to see him. He took on, of course, the Michael Moore fight. There was something going on with that. But the 3-fight trilogy with Bowe.
Came out, he said he had hepatitis during that fight recently.
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah,
and then he kind of find out he had a heart
murmur at the time.
So can you imagine if the guy had been 6'3", 230, just how dangerous he could have been. I mean, again, he belongs in anybody's top 10. Okay, let me say hello to some people. Kenny Rayford, Larry Holmes, legend. Oh, God, Floyd. Yeah, well, that's true, Kenny, and I agree with you. And Jack Dempsey, we're going to mention him and Marciano. We're going to give you our list as we go along the way. But I agree with you, Kenny. Like I said, in mine, Larry Holmes deserves to be top 10. That top 10 list can go so many ways sometimes because there's a fight or two that makes a difference. Don Elbaum was with us last week, as you well know, and he had his list, and Don's seen all these guys from the time they were young pups, I should say, in the boxing business, most of it, until they seen them all the way to the championships. I think he had something like 20 world champions that he helped develop. So, he can tell you those. But Larry deserves that. I mean, like I say, you get the number. When you get to 10, it's kind of like, okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, to me, if there's a separation, it is at 1. And we'll tell you who my number 1 is as we move along through this. But there's a separation at 1 and probably at 2. 1 and 2 may have their own separation, not for the same reasons that you guys might think, but for my own personal reasons. So we'll go to now. That's mine. So now if we agreed on that, we'll say Larry Hazard says, Larry Holmes, Evander Holyfield. Well, yes, Commissioner. I can't disagree with you anyway because you was there and you as commissioner or as like Don Elbaum said,
best referee
in the game.
And my boss, so I can't disagree
with and I want to get. I'm hoping to get him. His schedule is so busy, but I really want to get him on because, there's a lot of people in this sport that has a history in the sport, but then there's a lot of people that his story is this sport.
Absolutely.
And I had a great interview with Larry Hazard. You can see on YouTube, actually, as a matter of fact. But his story that's boxing gets his story. And if you go to YouTube, just pull up Larry Hazard and Roy Foreman, you'll see it. A great interview, insight to his personal life that he gave me, which I was, kind of, you asked the questions, but that don't mean they were always going to give it to you. But he opened up with me. It was a beautiful, beautiful interview. So, Commissioner, I have to agree with you. We agree with you on that part. Those two guys were magnificent. Their fights were great. So at the same time, people can say that Evander fought a couple of older guys and George and Larry, but listen, he fought 2 older guys that were pretty good, and nobody else beat them guys that
a lot bigger than him. And again, if there was money in a cruiserweight division, maybe Evander Holyfield never fought at heavyweight. Yeah, so imagine the guy fighting out of his weight class for the bulk of his career.
For the bulk of his career, man. I mean, because I still say the fight with him and Dwight Kwawi may have been one of the best fights I've ever seen in the history of boxing. Okay, so now let's get you. What do you have? That was your 8, right?
That was my 8.
Okay, so who you got at 7?
7, I got Smoking Joe Frazier. Arguably the best left hook the heavyweight division's ever seen.
Okay.
Hard the size of California. I mean, the shots you've seen this guy take against Ali that he continued to walk through for 3 fights.
Yeah.
Never retreated. A normal man could not come through that.
Never retreated.
I know some people, especially people who didn't watch a lot of the fight game back then, or haven't done their study, and they look to what your brother was able to do to him. But again, that was almost like a heavyweight fight, a cruiserweight. If there was money, if there was a cruiserweight division back then, Joe Frazier, another one of those guys, probably wouldn't have been a heavyweight. But I mean,
some guys just have guys' numbers. You know what I mean? That's the way it is, isn't it? Some guys just have guys' numbers.
But aside from that George Foreman fight, I mean, Joe Frazier gave everybody hell.
He only lost to world champions. I don't think anybody ever know that. The only people he ever lost to was Ali and George. Never had one draw, but I mean, I think he should have deserved that one too. But he never lost to anybody but world champions. Yeah. And I mean, that's saying a lot by itself.
And another guy, very welcoming, nice guy, down to earth guy. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Bobby Royalty, who anybody could walk up to and talk to.
So great family on top of that. His daughter Jackie, the judge in Philadelphia. and a lawyer as well. Went to law school. She boxed a little while herself. So
refused to let me call him Mister.
No, he didn't like that.
He called me Smoke. I'm one of the boys.
Yeah, I'm Smoke. All right. Well, okay. I'm gonna kind of disagree with that one because I got Tyson actually at number 7, and because I just figured that Mike Tyson's, it's like 2 careers almost with Mike.
Yeah.
You know, the Mike Tyson from 19 to about 23, I think 24. I forget how old exactly what he fought.
To about 1989.
Yeah, when he fought before he fought
Douglas.
Big Buster Douglas. So I look at that one as far as it being one of the Mike Tyson.
He wasn't the same after.
And it's kind of like, and he has his fans because Mike came along. You didn't have the social media, but what you had was a hip hop generation. There was a generation out there that's that just literally Mike personified. He was in videos. I still remember this one. He was in a New Jack City video with Ice-T, right?
Yeah.
He's got the gold chain and chain.
And
so
he would come out the
Public Enemy. So he had that, and the young kids during that period of time, you have to agree that Mike Tyson, from a social standpoint as well as from a fight standpoint, you have to kind of put him in there as being one of the. But he won the youngest heavyweight champion we ever had.
And I'm partial to him because he basically, in the late 80s, made Atlantic City the boxing capital of the world. He made this the feature place in the world for boxing because he was fighting here at Boardwalk Hall.
A lot of people give it to Gaddy, but Gaddy may have continued it, but Tyson was the one that brought the interest and everything here.
The difference to me between Gaddy and Tyson and what they did, Tyson fought in the old Boardwalk Hall that was the convention center before they took 9,000 seats out. And he was selling it out when it was 20,000 people in it. Gotti was selling it with 11, 12,000 people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Tyson had, I saw In Vogue at a Tyson fight.
Oh, yeah.
All these types
everybody was there. I mean, the night that he and Holyfield, Jordan Holyfield fought, I looked around and I was like, wow. I remember I telling somebody, Jerry Falwell was there. All these, you had the big preachers, the movie stars, and all this stuff. And that was because of what Mike Tyson had brought to the game.
Absolutely.
I look at okay, we got some more comments over here. We got Freddie. Is that Freddie Jean Fletcher?
Jesus.
Roy Jones is better. Oh, we're gonna get to Roy. No, I told you. Listen, I told you guys. Everybody is going to have those, and whether you agree with us or not. And I'm going to read somebody. Let's see. Isaiah Alexander says Tyson, Ali, Frazier, Foreman, Holyfield,
as a Charles.
Not a bad list. And you know what? I would like to say that Ezra Charles probably belongs on that list, but Marciano has a spot there.
And everybody likes to see something different too. That's why what catches your attention may be a little different than mine. Also, I want to tell you, I really did not speak to Mr. Foreman or copy his list. But the next guy on my list is Mike Tyson also.
I mean, but that's boxing knowledge.
I'll show you the list. We didn't speak on it.
We didn't speak on it. I just said, hey, that's what we're going to do, and he came in with it. So, I mean, but I look at the part that says Ezra Charles and
we're not talking about the little guys right now.
Right, yeah, we're going to get to the Aaron
Jackson.
Yeah, all those guys. We're going to get to those.
Ray Leonard ducked Aaron Pryor, but
I don't blame him for ducking.
I wouldn't have fought him either.
I wouldn't have fought him either because that was going to be a fight. Sometimes, you want to box, but then sometimes it's a fight. You know what I mean? And Aaron Pryor was going to be a fight. I mean, he was going to be one. But so we're going to hit on the next 5 before we get to our top 5 in here. We're going to move to the smaller guys. So that's our first top 6, right? That we got. So the next 5 is going to be our next 5. We're going to get to those 2. But now let's get to that. Let's talk about the guys like the Aaron Pryors, the underrated fighter. But we talked about Alexis Arguello, and we talked about Wilfredo Benitez, of course, during that period of time. Mm-hmm. And then, let's not forget the light heavyweights as well, because it's kind of hard not to. Roy Jones, Eddie Mustafa Muhammad,
Michael Spinks.
I thought that was perhaps the greatest period of the light heavies.
Saad Muhammad, the most exciting light heavyweight.
Saad, Dwight Kwawi, Eddie Mustafa,
good
Matthew,
friend Dwight Kwawi.
I mean, that was probably the greatest period for light heavyweight boxing, because up until that time, Bob Foster pretty much had ruled the light heavyweight division for a long time. Yeah, guys came along to challenge him. Yeah, and so but he ruled it pretty much for around 8 to 10 years, I think. So after Archie Moore did, so that was kind of ruled by one. Then Roy Jones stepped. Then Eddie comes in. Well, at the time he was Eddie Gregory,
yeah.
And then he changed his name to Eddie Mustafa, and I think it's something about that just made him a much better fighter because Eddie was one of those guys. I used to think about Eddie as I remember him because I was around him at the time. He didn't smile a whole lot. He smiled a lot and he laughs a whole lot now, but he'll tell you. Sometimes I'd be afraid of guys. Mm-hmm. I grew up. I said, well, I ain't gonna bother this guy. But me and him now, we've been the best friends for the last 20 years. But I never told him.
He was a guy like that. I started training with him. I guess I was about 15, 16 years old, and he had to come speak to me first. Like the first 2-3 weeks that we was in the gym, there was no words exchanged because he didn't look like somebody you wanted to talk to.
With. But I found out that Eddie, man, was a great guy, great friend of man. His daughter, I love his daughter, his wife, and my wife, and we all got to be extremely good friends over the years. So, but when you look at that period of those 5 guys, like you said, Matthew Sard, Eddie, Kwawe, Spinks, what's the guy that went to? Actually, the guy that wasn't bad Scott, James Scott. I wouldn't put him in the great part, but he was kind
Marvin
of
Johnson.
Marvin Johnson, yeah. I mean, so that was the greatest period. It just seems like after that, all the concentration, Yaki Lopez and Victor Galindez, Mike Rossman. I mean,
Mike Rossman from right here in
Atlantic City. So we had a great period of light heavyweights. But for some reason, it seems like unless they just stood out, like those 5 we named, they stood out. It was kind of like, okay, light heavyweight champion. Then there was the heavyweight champion. That's kind of where it went.
If they were heavyweights, you'd be talking about in the way we talk about Frazier, Ali, and Foreman. But because they're light heavyweights, they're kind of overshadowed by the heavyweights. But believe me, that was a tough period, man. And those guys could beat anybody at any given time on any given night. So that's the thing about the light heavyweight division. But we talk about the guys like the Aaron Prize and one of my guys, Donald Curry. Donald Curry, just very underrated.
Yeah, just recently got inducted into the Hall of Fame too at the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Overdue. But he had some period of time. He went to jail and went to prison. And he doesn't. The thing about these guys, they don't miss that out of it. They'll talk to you about that because they realize the mistakes that they made. But there again, during that period of time in the 80s, late 80s, mid 80s, late 80s, that was a great period of welterweights. Curry. The body snatcher.
The only problem Curry had was the body snatcher.
Yeah.
He could have put him in a coffin the way he put him out. And the other one was that he was following Ray Leonard.
That's true.
And I mean, that's kind of like the same thing Larry Holmes had going behind Muhammad Ali. You're following such a big enigma, such a big figure. It's kind of hard to leave your mark when everybody's still fixated on what had just left.
Yeah, that's true. But you know what? The thing about it, I would be in the gym in Dallas with them, right? Mm-hmm. And these guys wanted to be there. That's Ray Leonard is who they wanted to be. I mean, literally, it was like, I can do everything the Ray can do. That's who they emulated.
He was the Michael Jordan of boxing.
Yes, he was. Sugar Ray Seals was another one of those guys, that Ray Leonard was there. That was their mark right there. If I can get there where he is, then, just one of those things. Oh, hey, Eddie, how you talking about Eddie? Eddie Mustafa. Hey, what's going on, Eddie? I told you I was afraid. I never told you this, but I used to be afraid of you, man. That's the way it was. You didn't smile. You smile a lot now. I got you now because I can make you laugh and do everything.
Now he's one of the best trainers in the game.
Yeah, now he's one of the top trainers. Matter of fact, he took his fighter to Japan recently, a while back, a few months, and beat a guy that nobody thought he would do. So okay. Kenny Rayford says John Conte. I'm like, yeah. He
might have been a notch right below those guys.
Yeah.
We were talking
I don't think
he's right there.
But he didn't fight. I think John came in between that period of that light heavyweight division where Foster had ruled it, and to these guys in the late 70s, early 80s. Again, it's if you consider matchups, okay, you should consider matchups because Roy ruled the heavyweight division light heavyweight from 90 till, he ruled that.
But he beat guys so bad, it made everybody say he fought bums.
But because he was just that good and that fast, you couldn't believe it at times. But when you take that light heavyweight division, and I know we just skipped all over it because we started talking about the light heavyweights, but that's because they say I'm smiling. I know. I tell you, I can make you laugh now, man. Yeah, because I see over the years we become great friends, man. And I do. I like talking to you. When he's one of the first guys who called me when my niece died. He's one of the first guys to call me at home, as a matter of fact.
Boxing people, I say all the time, some of the best people in the world.
Yeah. But if you start talking like matchups against these guys, like you take a John Conte, I'd like to see Bob Foster against a Eddie Mustafa, or Bob Foster against a Michael Spinks,
or against Saad Muhammad, the guy that recovered from being hurt like that.
I would like to see those fights now. Because those are about the only two. Archie Moore, was covered several decades, so it's kind of hard to say with Archie. But I would have liked to seen those type of matchups.
Yeah,
I mean, you nowadays, with you can do it with computers.
The Mongoose might have beat them all.
You think so?
Defensive wizard.
He was defensive wizard.
He had a lot of tools in his
toolbox. He did. He was one of the best, and it may have been the one of the best. Like for a period of time, if you go by holding titles, I don't think he ever lost a title, if I can remember right. He only lost fights to heavyweights. He fought Marciano. He fought Ali. I think he fought another one. So he didn't lose. He didn't lose very, very well. But the light heavyweights is one of those things. It's kind of like the running back is in football now. You know what I mean? He's there because you need him to fake the ball to sometimes hand the quarterback and the wide receiver gets the glory. But the light heavyweight,
he's not quite a big guy, so he's not quick like the little guy.
Yeah.
He's kind of stuck in the middle.
But they were full of fire, man. Yeah. All of them had punch. Not one of them didn't have punching power. Spinks might have been the lightest punching out of all of them.
And he could punch.
But he could punch, but he was just so slick.
Yeah.
The Spinks jinx, as they called it. But now with the again, we hit the we'll tap on the lightweights now. And now this is
Roberto Duran. You can't talk about lightweights without Roberto.
Yeah, with Duran. But see, this is where you lose people sometimes. Because people say, "Oh, I know boxing, I know this, I know this." But when you start going down to those light divisions, they don't know about that. So that's why we can tell you some things that you might, but we'll make you go to your computer and make you look this up to find out who somebody. But I look at guys like Mickey Walker, the Bulldog, right? Was a bad little guy, man. I mean, these guys were like, and there's another one that's going to come to me in a minute. But it was those periods more like maybe the 30s, 40s, 50s into the 60s. But once you got to Duran, Ken Buchanan, and what's the other guy he knocked? The one he almost destroyed Buchanan.
Well, he beat the hell out of
Buchanan. but matter of fact, I think Duran, and I remember I was somewhere like in 78 or 79. I was at a thing that Ray Arcel was giving, and Ray Arcel he said I seen guys that would move up in weight or go down in weight not to fight Duran. Mm-hmm. You know, one continue saying, "Nah, I'm not a 130. I'm a 120."
Well, to put it in perspective, what Roberto Duran did, I think Roberto Duran did the equivalent to what Roy Jones did going up and winning heavyweight championship.
Yeah, true.
For a lightweight to win the middleweight championship of the world is amazing.
Amazing, yeah. I mean, that's the thing about these guys is that I think from that period on when boxing became the truly global sport that it is, because there were some other English fighters. You know, you had in the heavyweight division, you had guys like Henry Cooper, you had Oscar Bonavena. I say European, but Oscar Bonavena. Those guys was around. George Chavallo. They were good mitten guys until they got to the.
They were good. They were best known for getting beat up by Ali and guys like that.
And getting knocked out. But they go in and beat the lower guys. But then every time it came, they couldn't get over the hump. Now that was a guy. Joe Bugner was the guy that Frazier fought, and Bugner actually went the distance with Ali and Frazier. One of the few European fighters to ever do that.
Yeah.
So when you start looking at the historical part of this sport, you got that's why I said we got so many guys in this sport, and that's what's made it what it is. It's perhaps the best barbershop, wherever you're sitting somewhere and you start bringing up the sport of boxing. You can talk about football all you want, and that's a team thing. But when you start speaking this individual stuff, it's a whole different ball game. Because everybody has their opinion about who they think is this, who they think is that, but boxing is one of the ones. Okay, what else that we have? We got
Felix Trinidad.
Felix, say Mike Wise says James. Oh yes, James. Well, we're going James.
James, only very gifted fighter.
Probably perhaps the most polished fighter of any of those guys.
Had he stayed in shape and stayed at middleweight, who knows what he would have done.
I didn't say that, James. He said that because James is another one that'll punch you out too. But okay, Isaiah is saying Felix Trinidad, Ike Corte, Hector Camacho, Jersey Joe Walcott, Ray Mancini. All great fighters. Yeah, great fighters.
All due respect, I don't think you can mention Ike Corte or Hector Camacho with these guys we've said.
No, because he lost to all every time he moved to 10. But great fighters.
Very great.
We're not doubting that part. But when you start talking about the list where, hey, this guy separated this guy from that.
From a marketing standpoint, Camacho took flamboyance to another level.
He did. And then there was the other guy that I liked. If you go by that, what's the guy, the little guy used to wear the shots on before he
Paez.
Jorge Paez. He was another one, flamboyant. That's what it like. He wore different.
Beat Calvin Grove.
Yes, I was at
15-round war.
It was a great fight too. But he came in with different things. Different every time was a different outfit. Yeah, I mean, he started that thing. But then the kid Alfredo Escalera, the kid from Puerto Rico, was another good fighter during those period of times. That's why I say it's kind of hard.
Edwin Rosario,
yeah, it's hard to break that down to 20 is hard, 10 is almost incredible. But sometimes you have to try to do this to keep the sport and to keep the show here interesting. Now, which moves us? We'll go back to my number 5 guy. He mentioned earlier Jack Dempsey. I have Jack Dempsey on that list, and for the reasons being, Dempsey was a puncher. I mean, in the long count, everybody talks about the long count, but the reason, and somebody, I think it was Don Elbaum, brought it up to me again the other day, and he said what happened with the long count was they didn't used to be a guy could knock a fella down and could stand over him, and the referee didn't start counting until you walked away. Got to a neutral corner.
And he didn't go to the neutral corner.
18, 20 seconds passed by, you gave a guy enough to recover. And that's what made it the long count. But the Jack Dempsey, and then I got to go with, as my number 4 guy, Rocky Marciano.
Okay.
Never lost the title. It's kind of hard to do that.
I swear I did not see this man's list. But my number 5 is different.
Okay.
My number 5 is Riddick Bowe. And I know a lot of people draws dropped and they want, but I mean, on the night he beat Holyfield the first time, he didn't have a longevity. He kind of ate his way out of prominence, but on the night he beat Holyfield that first fight, he gives anybody in the history of the heavyweight division a problem.
That's true.
I mean, you're talking about a big guy with thunder in both hands, could combination punch, had a long jab, could box if he needed to,
like turn his body,
do
everything.
And you don't see too many big guys that could just fight inside the way he could. So I think a whole lot of Riddick Bowe. And like I said, I didn't see Mr. Foreman's list, but I got Rocky Marciano at 4 also.
Okay. And for obvious reasons, a guy told me, said this once, and before I get to that part, I said this to Don last week that, you had guys back then, even prior to that, they didn't allow a lot of the white fighters to fight the black challengers. Yeah. But Marciano came at that period of time when that had changed.
Yeah,
he fought the guys like Walcott,
Jersey
Joe, and the other Charles, and those guys. He was there during that period of time. So
honorable mention for Joe Walcott. He's a Jersey guy.
Yeah, he's a Jersey guy. As a matter of fact, we're going to be having. I'll mention that as we go on because we got to talk about. They're doing the statue for September the 27th at the Battleship, New Jersey. I'm going to give you that full information a little bit more before we go because I want you to make sure you, if you can, come out to attend that. They want to put a statue of Jersey Joe. And I mean, what fighter though has a name? The state is literally named after him, Jersey Joe Walcott. That's kind of cool, right? Yeah. No matter how good, nobody says Foreman, Texas, or Ali, Kentucky. It's like Jersey Joe Walcott. You know what I mean? That's pretty good. So September 27th, and Nino, I'm hoping to have him on the show with us before we get to that point. But it's going to be a great weekend. A great week that I think it's the 27th. I think that's a Tuesday if I remember right. I hope maybe we'll do the show from up there. That'd be great then. That would be a lot of fun. So now that's good. Now here we go with these last 3. Now I always eliminate my brother because people are going to.
Well, I ain't going to do that.
Well, you can do that. I'm going to eliminate that. So because he, and even though I respect everything that I know that he did, and I do consider him one of the
you're conflicted. So.
Yeah, it's kind of conflicted with it. So I kind of eliminate him off of that. But I look for again. I'm looking at a standpoint that most people are going to say, well, we didn't. But I have to put Floyd Patterson on that list. Patterson was the first guy. Yes, little guy.
Was the youngest heavyweight champion.
And Tyson replaced him. He won the first guy to win the title and lose it back again twice. So I have to put Patterson into that thing too. And he had that little thing about him that they'll put peekaboo defense, and he come out there
by custom model,
like Tyson. So when he came out of that thing,
another really nice guy. When you met him.
Oh man, that's the guy that smiled, and he tell you how to show you how to smile. I always just smile every time you say, "Jeff, how you doing?" That was always him. Great, and a real true gem. Tracy Patterson, the son the young man that he raised, and that's what gave me a lot of respect for him too, because I know about the story with him and Tracy as well. So great guy. And number 2.
Let me get my number 3.
Okay, give you number 3. Okay, I get your number 3.
Number 3 just happened to be the boss's brother.
Okay.
And I swear I'm not saying it.
What do we do? Knock out. Oh, that's all right. That's what happened. Knock the sign down when you said that.
No, but Big George Foreman again. Dynamite in both hands. Underrated as a boxer. he had an underrated jab too. I seen him knock guys down with a jab. I mean, to be able to take, how long was he off?
10 years.
10 years and come back and win the heavyweight title. Not even when he first came back, maybe 6, 7 years.
Actually, it was 20 years from when he lost it, 80 from 74 to 90.
What he was able to do was remarkable. And he came and was able to compete and beat most guys in a whole nother era that were younger, faster than him. But he had that eraser. And I think there ain't too many heavyweights in the history of the division that stands up to a George Foreman right hand.
Well, by the grill, that'll be happy about that. He makes the grill. All right, number 2. I'm going to go with Ali because I mean that's in itself. Like I said, and all these guys, even to this point, they all stood for something beyond. Whether it was Joe Louis or anybody else. I just gave him my number 1 because I didn't put Jack Johnson on that list, and that's what a lot of people are going to tell me. I think Jack was a great fighter,
but boxing transcended after him. He was too basic. I think they would have ate him up with his style. But I have the same 2 guys, 1 and 2.
Okay.
But I have them flip flop.
Okay.
I have Ali number 1 and Joe Louis number 2.
Okay.
And I just think my reason is that they ever were to collide, I think Joe Louis would be too small. I think Ali was a little more. Joe Louis was the bigger puncher, but Ali was more athletic. Could box a little better. I thought he would have danced circles around him, but those are my top.
You know why I put him over there? Because Ali had trouble with small men. He always had trouble with small guys.
He couldn't use his speed as much.
Yeah, Spinks, Frazier, a couple other guys.
I think Spinks, he was past his prime.
Yeah, well, he was.
And Frazier was a different. Some guy, like you said, just have your number.
Have your number. Yeah, that's what it
Joe
was.
Frazier and Ken Norton just had the Muhammad Ali combination. Yeah,
I mean, they couldn't go 2 rounds with Jordan. For some reason, they could stand there and go. They fight Ali to the death. But then with Ali though, you're not just fighting a boxer. You're fighting a memory. You're fighting somebody that stood for something that was just like, you
was fighting an icon.
You find an icon. And I mean, so it's like, I know my brother, when he went in, he says the one fighter he never had respect for because he was 24 years old. Ali was 32. He just started like, hey, man, I don't care. I'm going to go. I'm going to walk through this guy. Not that he didn't train, but he wanted a knockout. Mm-hmm. That's what he wanted. So, but in between that, you got to realize you're fighting a guy that's willing, at that time was willing to die. He said, I'll die in that ring. And over in Africa,
that's what Tyson says a lot about it. He said you can't beat a guy that's willing to die.
Willing to die. You have to have that whole thing about that. So anyway, number 2, number 1. Now, if we got a few minutes left on here, I think right now about this time. So if you're on the Facebook and you want to, we'll talk about some of the other things that's going on in boxing while we're doing that. If you toss us your ideas are yours, and then we'll mention them on here as well, on Provide. But look, now, again, I want to mention this weekend, September 14th, is the Jazz Fest, the AC Jazz Fest. That's going to be a real nice time, man. I don't know when the last time if we've ever had a Jazz Fest with the kind of names like this. It's going to be a great weekend at Hard Rock. Some of the better names in the jazz business. If you are a jazz fan, you do not want to miss this. I guarantee you that we're looking forward to that. And then, okay, Larry Hazard says George Foreman definitely belongs. He is a. You're right, Mr. Hazard. Okay, I'll let you go. If you say that, then that makes sense. I'll take Larry. I got you on that. I'll take you if you said that. And who's that? Poppy Pango up top there. Poppy Pango, is that right? I'm saying right.
Hello.
Okay. Okay, he's saying hello. And who's the other? Nitro says thanks. The top up there.
Oh, that's
Nino.
Nino.
Oh, Nino.
Yeah,
oh, I'm sorry, Nino. It's their writing, Nino. Don't blame. But I know your name anyway. They try to do it so fast, but I know. And like I said, Nino, I'm even if we don't do it before, we'll have you afterwards because that's going to be a good event. And I know that some of the list of the names,
I think great voices in boxing.
Yeah, the greats, man. I think that some of the names that's going to be there. That's why I said if you're a boxing fan in this area, you're in Philadelphia, wherever you're watching us, if you're in this area, you cannot come to this. You're going to have, I think Larry Hazard's going to be there. Larry Holmes is going to be at Dwight. While we said he's going to try to be there. The champ, Bernard Hopkins is going to be there. I think Danny Garcia is going to be there. It's just a long list of great fighters. And if you like taking pictures and autographs and stuff like that, and you don't get a chance, see, that's the problem. You don't get a chance to see these guys like that. We used to have the big fights here, and they were here. We haven't had the big fights like that anymore.
Freddie Fletcher.
Oh, thank you, Freddie. We appreciate this. Freddie Fletcher say loves the show. Thank you so much. Brothers? Yes, brothers. Yes. Okay, good. Thank you. I mean, if you want to come and see a lot of great champions at this time, and I'll be there too. I mess up the whole thing, but I'm there. So it'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. Have all these guys that in that spot and take pictures with him, man. I mean, this to me, the NFL has their Super Bowl or their Hall of Fame thing. All these guys are coming out Hall of Fame fighters. I'm looking for that's mine. I can't wait for that. Be a part of that. So, we thank you for that, and I really truly hope that it's a success. I think they can buy tickets for this. Let me get the full-fledged information for you the next time, or I'll post it on the Facebook where you can see it, or we can get Harris Hayes, the producer, on post it on Provides as well. We can see the information and come out. Should be a real nice event. Sounds like it's going to be I'm looking forward to it. And the Jazz Fest, as I said. But before we go, we've got to, like I said, I'm going to say this again. Some of the greatest fighters in the world are going to be there that night, past and present. If you like the sport of boxing and you want to see a statue, we've got one of Joe Frazier in Philly, got one of Larry Holmes in Easton. Now, New Jersey, you got to come out and do your thing, and let's put them on the Jersey Joe Wildcat. That's got to be the next thing right there. Now, we got 2-3 fights coming up. I guess we kind of have to mention.
Big one announced this weekend.
Yeah, and that's
Canelo's going to fight Kovalev.
Who just said?
Mike Wise.
Mike Wise suggests 2 golden ages for heavyweights. Well, that's true. 70s and 90s. That's true. That's true. And thank you for that one, Mike Wise. We appreciate that. I mean, that's the thing about this show and having even the Facebook. At least you can give us your information and we can agree with it. But no, we don't disagree with it. That's the whole thing about it. It's just that it's the good thing about it. You get a chance to put yours out here. And that allows us to kind of let us find out sometimes we don't know what we're talking about. But we enjoy it, and that's the good thing about it. But, okay. Now, give me the announcement that you said they had the other day.
Canelo is going to move up and wait and fight Sergey Kovalev. So that's
all I can say about that. Because
Kovalev is not who he was 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
But Canelo is a short, small middleweight. Mm-hmm. So I think it's intriguing just in that Kovalev's a much bigger fighter.
Where's the fight? Where are they trying to make that take place?
I'm not sure where it's taking place.
It should be here. That fight, Kovalev's have fought here enough time. Canelo's never fought here.
Canelo's not going to come here. Yeah, you know it's going to be on Canelo's turf.
Yeah, I know.
I think Canelo's speed is the difference.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't think Kovalev will be able to move his feet well enough to cut off the ring and stay in front of him. But
and trust me, I don't think Golden Boy or anybody else would take the fight if they didn't think Kovalev had nothing.
Oh, they saw something that said, all right, now's the time to take that chance. That's their golden goose. They can't afford
it's a good payday. It's a good payday for him. Good way to go out to say I lost a younger, stronger, up-and-coming guy. But then wouldn't that be something? Boy, that was shocking. That $360 million payday.
There's always a puncher's chance.
That's that $360 million payday that Kovalev.
Although Canelo showed a pretty good beard against Triple G.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So it should be interesting. Speaking of Triple G is fighting. Good. I can't pronounce.
He's fighting for the title.
Yeah, I can't pronounce those guys' names.
They stripped Canelo
up. Yeah. And he says he doesn't care. He just thought he wants to be the best. And now my thing is, I asked this question. He's moving up, right? Canelo. Mm-hmm. Now is Canelo going to have this thing where Triple G wins because he's going to go back to being a mandatory for Triple G? So does he not want that fight a third time?
I think to me it looks like politics is being played. I think Canelo was trying to stay away from that Triple G fight, which is probably why he ended up getting stripped. And now Triple G is going to get that title. Now I think they're trying to force a third fight. And I think Canelo's being defiant and say, well, I'm going up to 175.
I'm not going to take it.
And I mean, he comes in the ring as a light heavyweight. A lot of nights at 175 or above.
180. I think he was 190 before one of the fights. Yeah, so kind of like Chavez's son. You think at that little weight.
But rehydrating that light heavyweight and fighting a full-fledged light heavyweight is
but that's what I mean. We talked about the light heavyweights of that golden era with the Mustafa and Spinks and all those guys. I mean, Kovalev doesn't beat anybody. And I'm not even sure Andre Ward beats anybody. Be honest with you.
During that period, Bernard 2 years earlier, he wouldn't have beat
him. So I don't think that during that period that Kovalev, even Andre Ward beats any of those guys. So
Andre Ward would have been too small.
Yeah,
you had to compare him to the good middleweight.
I say it's this thing of right, what they call timing. Sometimes is everything, and so now this is a thing that nobody seems to say about. Charlo again gets pushed down a level because of what happened.
Too dangerous.
That nobody's going to fight him.
He's not a marquee name, so he doesn't bring a big payday. And it's a chance you may get beat by him.
Yeah.
You got to come to fight. So he's kind of, his talent kind of hurts him in this.
And there's no big payday for him because now they're going to say to him, well, you know what? Triple G is going to be here. And if Triple G chases Canelo, but then again, the title becomes vacant, but they mean nothing because they're just there.
You got to find a name still.
You got to find a name for
you can't dance without a partner.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. He's on the flip side to what Terrence Crawford is dealing with in the welterweight division.
Yes.
He's with Al Heyman, and all the champions are elsewhere in the middleweight division. And then Terrence Crawford's with Bob Arum, and all the welterweight champions are with Al Heyman. So unless these guys start working together, Charlo and Terrence Crawford may be left out in the cold.
Because now my understanding is I'd heard some information that they were trying to make Terrence and Pacquiao. Well, attractive fight,
take that fight,
but I don't think. If he just wants the money, like probably at this point he seemed to be looking for. But
he probably get more money for Danny Garcia.
He would, but I don't know if Crawford wants it because really, this guy's good to me. I mean, really, and I'm thinking he's saying, okay, Manny Pacquiao said, I get a 10 or 12, $15 million payday, but you know what? He wants Earl Spence.
He wants Earl Spence.
Yeah, or Sean Porter. I mean,
I told you how I feel about Spence. I don't think Sean Porter's going to have much. No, going to be able to do much to stop Earl Spence. I mean, he could shock me. I've been wrong before.
Yeah, but, like I said,
I just think he's made the order. His style is made the order.
Derrick James is my buddy. And I think that I know he's going to have him prepared. I sent him a text the other day, and my thing is just, hey, man, just handle your business. I saw you earlier at the football game Sunday as the Cowboys beat the Giants on Sunday.
Eagle Nation.
So I saw him at the football game there with Jerry Jones. So he's been a celebrity, and he's earned the right. In Texas, he is the name, along with the Charlo brothers. They are the guys that's down there now. But I'm hoping to see it, Gervonta Davis and Lomachenko. We're talking about that fight.
His title to make that happen. I think it's looking like he's going to take Gamboa first. I think it is.
Yeah, Gamboa. I don't blame him. I take that. That's a good warm-up fight.
I think you definitely got to call it a warm-up because I think Gamboa's past his prime. He got to win in this last fight. But the fight before that, he got a gift.
Yeah, they gave it to him. I thought it was
because
sometimes your name just does it. You know what I mean? Sometimes your name does it. But the thing about it, Larry Hazard, who gets a chance to work the ringside, he's seeing all this younger generation of fighters as well because he does the Fox Sports. What do they call it? Like the judge used to do on the.
He's the expert.
He's the expert guy,
analyst,
and he hasn't been wrong. I think I had one fight, Commissioner, that I disagreed with you on, and that's a whole nother ball game. But and I know I can't disagree with you, but he does an excellent job but he more than that, he brings something to it we might miss.
He legitimizes.
He legitimizes that broadcast altogether. He's the best thing on that broadcast, to be honest with you. So I'm glad to see him doing that. And I think he's got a long career in that part right there. So, but the last one is we're going to talk about. Ron Squire says hello.
Hey, Ron.
Herb Henderson, how you doing out there in Ohio? Gail Hayes. Great show. Thank you, Gail. That's our producer's wife. If she said anything worse, I'd get up out the chair and leave. But that's our Ohio family and guys in Texas and everywhere else, in California too, all over. We get, the funny thing about it, we get people from Australia, and hello to my Australian people, guys. The guys in the Congo, they get us on here. All my guys down there, like I said, the 757 down there, they're tuning into catching us now. But
I'm excited because thanks to you. For some reason, I got a guy like Larry Hazard, and Eddie Mustafa Muhammad listening, little old me talking.
Watching. They like your boxing guy. Once you're in this fraternity, man, you can't get out of it. But Gervonta Davis and Lomachenko and Terrence, what's his name?
And I'm gonna say Gervonta Davis is gonna stop Lomachenko, and everybody thinks I'm crazy, but we're gonna see.
I don't know. I think but I want us to get a fight. And we need a couple of fights here in Atlantic City.
Absolutely.
And I think it's time now. This is getting to be the period that things kind of slow down there. And if the casinos are ever going to deal with something, we need one of these promoters to come in here.
Casino write a check, and all my people, I'm a lifelong resident here. Come out and buy a ticket, watch the fight.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yes. We've had a couple decent cards here in the past 10 years that haven't been supported as well as they should have been.
That's why.
So we can't keep screaming for boxing to come back, and you guys aren't buying tickets. So y'all guys want to see high quality fights here? Buy tickets.
Yeah, Jersey, Philadelphia, New York, Boston. We want come. We got a lot to offer down there. Casinos are great, but great weekends. We got great music. Like I said, this weekend we got the Atlantic City Jazz Fest, and you can't go wrong with that. I'm looking forward to that myself. That should be a real great evening. The guys have worked hard on promoting, and again, some of the names are Bonnie James, Najee, Norman Brown, Lindsey Webster, Pieces of a Dream. Man, they got that song that they was called Rainforest. They did like 30 years ago. I still have that in my mind. I can't wait to see them. And Joe Baton. So this is going to be a great weekend. Is it just one night? Right, it's just one night, so you only got one night to see it. But get your tickets.
You can go. The impact of Hard Rock coming to town.
Yeah, Hard Rock is coming.
Concerts.
So you just go to the www.acjazzfest.com, or you can call Ticketmasters, of course, of always, and the Hard Rock Casino, and a couple other places. But right now, you got 3 days. Right, 3 days. Get your tickets. Go online. You know how to do it. Computer. Go online. Come out, support us. We did all this here in Atlantic City. Well, like I said, it's kind of slowing down now. Summertime is gone. We had a great summer. A lot of people came in, and we just really, truly enjoyed having you tune in with us here. And we're going to be here throughout the rest of the year. Hope we had vibes here at The Choice. And we want to thank Ali here. Ali, of course, Ali Williams. He's been such a great host with us here at this place here, providing us with a place to broadcast this show from. We want to thank him for that as well. And as I said before, what does Eddie Mustafa say this time? Eddie, what did he say?
There are some people you leave alone. Earl Spence is one in the welterweight division. I agree with you, Mr. Muhammad. I said that a couple weeks ago that I just don't see anybody. Speaking of Earl Spence reminds me of who I believe is the greatest middleweight of all times, Marvin Hagler. I think Earl Spence has a lot, other than he doesn't switch, but his style, he's left-handed, and his temperament in the ring just reminds me a lot of Marvin Hagler. He just walks to and through you. He wants to break you and just make you sorry you got in the ring. Does. And I think he's going to rule the welterweight division, I think, for as long as he wants to.
Well, they said Porter asked for this fight. No, saying that sometimes be careful what you ask for because you just might get it.
Yeah, well, I think this is that case.
This might be that case in the fights. It's been, like I said, boxing is going to end with a great year. We're going to get the rematch between Ruiz and Joshua. Not sure what we're going to get. I don't think we're going to get.
I think we get the same fight again, unfortunately.
You think the same action? Because I'm wondering, will Anthony Joshua try to come out and prove something?
The problem with the fight is, to me, on Anthony Joshua's standpoint, he didn't get cracked with one big shot.
No,
and so he has a lot to correct.
Yeah,
and it seemed like Ruiz was able to hit him with 2 or 3 at a time, and he was able to put punches together at a speed that Joshua just couldn't react to. I don't see him being able to change that in a few months.
I think he better call Lennox Lewis or somebody to give him some hands up on this thing as far as learn how to fight like a big man.
Defense.
Yeah, fight like a big man. They're all saying that my brother always said you fight tall. You're the tall guy, you fight
your
tall.
Jab, keep
fight
it
behind your jab. But I think that if Andy comes in, I don't want to say overconfident, but comes in as confident as he did the first time.
Huge right
yeah,
now.
He does. That's right. Well, he's been on that parade route, man.
You buying houses and cars.
and cars and things like that. Hey, that's the champ, right? They'll say the champ is here. That's what it is.
It could be a situation like Bo Holyfield too.
Yeah.
Just eat himself out of it.
Yeah, eat himself out of it. So, but you know what?
And that's what Joshua's got to hope for, I think.
Well, you know what? That's December 7th. And let's mention the girls, though. I don't want to, somebody told me you never talk about, no, I do mention the girls because
I think Clarissa Shields has some stand.
Yes.
She has a leg to stand on in that claim she makes.
Yes, she does.
I mean, she says she thinks she's the greatest woman ever. And all the arguments I get online of like Christy Martin or even Layla or I'm trying to think of the other one, Lucia
Riker. Yeah.
All of them to me.
And Wolf.
Yeah. They just out-willed people or beat them. Clarissa Shields is the first woman I've seen that I think she understands some of the nuances of boxing. I've seen her. She's setting traps.
She does.
She fights at different speeds. I mean, she just has a boxing IQ that I haven't seen in women boxing. In all fairness to those other girls, women boxing was still in the infancy stage when they came along, and she's had the benefit
Well,
of
she's watching them
and
to learn.
growing up
Exactly.
in the
Exactly.
sport. So she should be better.
Yeah, so-
but I mean, I just see her doing things I haven't seen another female
Yeah,
fighter do yet.
she's a super talent. She's fighting one of my friends' guys, James Bashir. And I think in the October sometime. I don't have the exact date of that fight, but I know he went over. I think it's in Colombia, somewhere South America, one of those places, somewhere over there that he went over to train with her. And knowing Bashir, he's going to have her prepared. But I just think that she's just that good. It's hard to mention anybody after her because I mean, do we know it? Yeah, a couple we do, but I think she's the best out there.
Golden Boy has a decent, I think, super middleweight. She fought here a few months back. Her name escapes me. I apologize.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I mean.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I mean.
But she punches. She's a big puncher. I'd like to see her get in a little bit better shape. But right now, Clarissa Shields is leading the charge for female fighters.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that in the future. We'll be talking about that as she go along. Hey, guys, we want to thank you. We kind of went over our time a little bit, but it was great because we had some great conversations with you and, all of my friends out there in Vegas. Eddie, Commissioner Hazen, all you guys, and like I say, Texas, California, Australia, London, England. We get them from everywhere. That's what I like about this. So it's been fun this week. And get your top 10, send us to us sometime. You can go to provide.com, RoyForemanBoxing.com, RoroBoxing12 at yahoo.com. Send us, something you want to, what your comments are. We want to thank you. It's been a great show, and we really have enjoyed this week, this summer, and we're looking forward to a real great fall. So Julio Sanchez and Roy Foreman, we thank you for tuning in and listening. And as always, we'll see you at the fights.
Man, how we end up with almost the same list?
I don't know. That's funny, isn't it? That is. I had to let nobody.